Step C, developing alternatives. Once you've completed Step A and identified the values that matter to the organization, those values may include generating revenues, doing so in a way that does not harm the environment, generating revenues and also providing a service to reduce, let's say, child poverty in some part of some state. And we then move on to the problem in Step B, and we figure out that the problem they face is they don't have enough resources to do so, or perhaps they can't figure out the right kind of service to provide. As we move on to Step C, what we begin to do is to develop alternatives. Now, for any difficult social problem, many different segments of society have likely already tried in vain to solve the problem. Most important problems, are the ones that we've had for a long time. The government may have created an office, a nonprofit may have provided a new service, and a private company may have already developed a new product, all aiming to address the same social problem, in this case, the problem of child poverty. Many of them may have failed. In fact, if any of them have succeeded in some significant way, then the organization may not have even been necessary. Conversely, some difficult social problems are brand new or newly understood. Thus, there may have been no effort to solve the problem. In either case, in Step C, your job is to develop some new approach or new alternative to solve the problem you defined in Step B. To do so, you must look at the history of previous alternatives in news accounts, in policy reports, and academic articles. This is all going to take some library research, some searching and reading. Even in failure, a previous alternative may prove valuable to your analysis. So don't overlook organizations and alternatives in the past that may have failed, but may have clues to what might work in the future. Alternatives may involve doing more or less of something, doing something in a different way, or not doing anything at all. Creativity is very important in this step of your social innovation analysis. So prepare to think in imaginative ways that break from convention, that break from tradition, and break from the status quo. Starting with a long list of alternatives, maybe 15 to 20 or more, and then winnowing them down to a shorter list of 2 or 3 alternatives based on a quick analysis of your criteria from Step A is best. So let's look at some of the questions that you might ask. For the first question that you might ask is the following. What is the status quo? What is the current approach to the problem? Again, this is related to what the organization is doing right now. Has the organization already tried to address the problem? If so, why don't you try to describe what it has done? Have similar or different organizations tried to address this problem in the past? If so, I want you to think about providing a table where you list the specific ways that they have been tried in the past. And you can describe whether or not those have been successes or those have been failures in the past. Which of the attempts to solve this problem have been innovative alternatives, incorporating creativity, novel thinking, and technology? Why were these successful or failures? Which of these attempts to solve the problem have been traditional alternatives, incorporating in more of an incremental and accepted practice? Why were these successful or failure? And perhaps most important, are there any reasons why any of the successful alternatives that have been tried by other organizations would not work for the organization you're looking at? Might this be related to internal or external value conflicts, resource constraints perhaps faced by your organization and not other organizations, legal or policy constraints? Perhaps this has worked in other countries but wouldn't work in the country that you're looking at. Maybe there are cultural constraints or power issues or politics. You'd want to consider all of this when trying to complete Step C.